Welcome to the Mindset on Resilience podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Truelove, and I am excited for the guests we have today. As you all know, we are here to build a more confident, resilient, and mentally strong community. And I promise you all, the guest that I have for you all today, he's going to deliver on that. He's a 2008 USA Today's 100 recruit, top 100 recruit, Under Armour All American. Hold on, academic All ACC, 2009 Atlantic Division champ. Come on now. He's a 2011 ACC champion. My man, listen, my man got some things on his wall. He's also a 2011 ACC champion, 2012 Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens, and he is the current director of former player engagement for Clemson. My man, Antoine McClain. How you doing, big dog?
Doing great, man. That's an awesome intro. I appreciate you shouting me out.
No doubt. I want to make sure. And listen, I left some stuff off because you got some more stuff on the list as well. So, we can't give everything. You know, we got to have some conversations on here. So, but man, I'm happy to have you on the show today. And man, you've actually done some great things. And one thing I would like to kind of step into was that you like your high school journey. So obviously, you're champion at Clemson, champion, in the Super Bowl as well, which we'll get to. But man, you hear from the state of Alabama, the great state of Alabama, and tell me a little bit about your journey to, like, collegiate football. Like what was that like for you being highly recruited? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Oh man, my journey with getting recruited was like I wouldn't say a dream come true, man. When we talk about the word of like, vision and manifestation, I didn't know like I mean everybody probably have saw the documentary The Secret and the stuff that talks about in that book or that documentary, I was already doing. Like I knew for a fact as a kid that I was gonna play football on a high level. I knew in high school I was gonna play football at the next level. But the stuff in between that propelled me to do that. Like my brother, for instance, my brother had a chance to get recruited by a couple of black schools, and just seeing him go through his process of recruiting as a fifth grade, sixth grader, I kind of saw like the stuff I needed to do to take care of that. So like watching him go through that process, that was a blessing. And then too, having a hunger for getting out of my neighborhood situation, that always kept me motivated. So I would always like take ESPN and Sports Illustrated magazine. I cut out football photos and put them all over my wall in my room. But also too at night, I would run. I would visualize me playing wherever I was going to play at. I will always reference myself as a D1 prospect when I was young, but not yeah, not just saying those things, not being braggadocious, but I will always trajectory, like I would think of myself as a Division 1 prospect. I would always like work hard. I would always have to be the first one. I would always have to be like do all the great stuff that requires me to be great and be recruited. So when I got recruited, I was like, wow, like this actually worked. And I mean, my first school offered me was I think Ole Miss, and then I had like a bunch of other after that. But the point of that I would say was I always had a vision for myself when I was in high school and middle school. And yeah, I was a big kid, but I mean, where I'm from, it's a lot of big kids. But I just think that I had the tools, and I saw my brother go through his recruiting process to like know what that looks like. And then too, man, I had a lot of coaches along the way that helped me, help my vision come true. Because a lot of my coaches played D1 ball, and one of my coaches, Coach Bernard Ewell, he's coaches in Mississippi now. He played Mississippi State. I was blessed to have him along my journey because he was a highly recruited kid too, and he all gave me all the ins and outs of what to be focusing on, far as when I get to school, so it won't be a surprise. So, and then too, he was a great like mentor and father figure to a lot of us. But I mean, I had many people like him in my life that helped me see my vision to get recruited, and also too when I got to school, I kind of already knew the lay of the land from his standpoint. I mean, it changed a lot, but I just had a lot of people and a lot of help and a lot of blessings in my life that helped me to get to where I was as far as a highly recruited guy, being in the Eat USA Today top 100 players in the country, playing in the unnumbered game, being invited to play in the U.S. Army game. So all that stuff, man, I just think all the hard work and all the sacrifices my mom and my dad and everybody had to make for me to be here, and he raised me right, and then have a mindset to go achieve my dreams.
Yeah, man, that's one thing that I think is amazing, man. Because you said, man, I was referencing myself as a D1 recruit. You know what I'm saying? As a young kid, I always had to, be first. I was challenging myself very early, and I think that mindset obviously is a reason not only why you were successful in high school, also in college, and making it to the league, but also like as you transition, because mindset it goes with you wherever you go. It ain't just one career that allows for you to excel with that mindset. But will you tell me a little bit about, because you did mention like I wanted to like the community and wanted to be in a better place and that stuff. Like tell me a little bit about the stuff that you had to overcome that allowed for you to like did that play a part in like your mindset at all?
Well, I know as a kid we traveled a lot. Like, I mean, not out of the country, but my dad will always take us places. I love playing sports because I get to travel and to stay at home. Um, but I mean, I knew well, my parents raised me right. Both of my parents, kind of instilled in us the great, tools to be a great civilian in life. But you still can't escape what going to school or just, I don't know. I just not like shunning my hometown, but I always saw myself, as a maneuver and traveler. Like one of my favorite movies is Forrest Gump, and for him to get up, and the reason why is because for him to get up and want to just run one day, and he got to saw all the world. I kind of saw myself in that. Even when we travel for away games, like I love away games because I get to sit up at night on the way back from the game, and whether we won or lost, I get to like look out the window. I get to see all this land. That always kept me, that whatever it was God that had me thinking that way, that had me, on that trajectory. But so yeah, so I want to say I love my hometown, but I mean, every hometown has his vices and his ups and downs. So I always, I didn't want to. They call it the magnet. So we had a lot of guys that go play D1 ball, and some guys would make it, and some guys wouldn't. But I ain't never want to be the one that they be like, "Well, you messed up your opportunity, so now you back home with us." As in every superstar, as in every high achiever or whatnot, they never want to get sucked into the magnitude of their hometown. So I would say that, but I have some great, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my coaches, my parents, my friends I used to hang out with, and I would say one thing that God always gave me discernment to distance myself from people who wasn't doing the right things. Like I always had friends that I was cool with, but then I feel like when they start teetering the edge, I'm like, yeah, I will always, you know what I'm saying. But even with that, man, I look at it now as a kid. It's It was a blessing, man. I may have my feelings hurt then, or I may feel like not being the cool guy, or just I was always thankful for the moment that I did pull away and something bad happened. I mean, it sucked at the moment, but like I look at it now, and man, it was like, wow, I can imagine, staying in that car, or going with it and go do something crazy, or just, I mean, I did my stuff being sneaky. I mean, every kid did. But I always had like a discernment. Is like, yeah, you need to go the opposite way, and I thank God for that to this day, man. So
I think that's dope, man, because I think that discernment piece you talking about, bro, that's so big. Because I was speaking at a school yesterday and talking to middle school kids, right? And one of the biggest challenges they have is that aspect is like knowing when something is going too far, and the aspect of like not knowing that your circle can get you into some trouble. I don't know if you know my guy Josh Chapman, played at Alabama, but anyway, yeah. My guy, he came to a program with me at Westline, and he was telling about a situation that happened with him back in high school with some of his friends, and his mom told him no, that he couldn't go. Right, he was hot, 38 hot. Right, man, my mom, you trying to go out, hang out with the boys, whatever. I'm talking about they've been cool for a long time. Man, that night, one of his friends did something, and both of them still in prison to this day. And the only reason he ain't there is because his mama told him no. So that discernment, man, that you talking about, man, it's so big, and our circle can either elevate us, or man, they can hold us back. So the fact that you had mentors, the fact that you had parents and grandparents that kind of like put that wisdom inside of you, and you actually took it as wisdom. Because sometimes it don't feel like it's wisdom. Sometimes it feel like they trying to like they're trying to hold you back, or they trying to like not let you be greater. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I never cared about like being a cool guy because like my dad told me something, man, and I'm not trying to shun anybody, but like he would always tell me, man, like look at we'll be driving by somewhere, the old neighborhood, and my dad be like, look, he used to be the man. Look at him now, or like look. Everybody want her to look at her now. So it's like, so that let me know that you don't have to sell yourself to be cool because what I was doing, I'ma always be cool because academia is cool. Playing in college football on ESPN, that's cool. Playing in the NFL, that's cool. And being a great dad, a great person, that's cool. So my dad, like at an early age, would pull me to the side and be like, look at them. They used to be the, you know what I'm saying? They used to be the man. And look at them. So I always had that. So like when it came to a point where, oh, you lame. Oh, because my vision for myself was a lot higher, man. So I ain't no trip on that stuff. I knew like, all right, my time coming, and it'll be in the right way versus doing stuff for the moment. Because I saw myself so much bigger than where I was in high school or middle school. So, but yeah, dog. So to your point, man, I was so blessed to have that because a lot of my friends did not. Well, a good bit of my friends I hung with, they had great training and whatnot. But some people who was just I don't know, man. I just look at some of my friends who are not here or in a bad situation. I'm like, wow, bro. I'm glad I got out of the car that night, but I feel bad for the circumstances of that piece. And then too, the guys who did they be like, hey, bro, like they be like, look, man, like one of my guys that I went to school with, his name is Miles. Miles Hall. He told me he's changed his life and everything, but he told me, man, he was like, I have never seen you do anything snaky or flaw, and God gonna forever bless you for that. And he was like, and he like pulled us out like I'm serious about that. He was like, you have never done anything to backstab anybody or to do anything shaky or flaw. And he was like, just know that you're gonna always be forever blessed for that. And I was like, wow, man. So to hear people, have a rough patch and do some stuff that, in the moment, but to see my man change his life, man, he's on a great trajectory. He's a trainer now. He's very health conscious. But for him to put to the side at a party and say those words, let me know that, man, all stuff that I did to sacrifice, one thing the coach is always telling me too, things are greater for you later. And that still sucks to me for this day because I'm one of those guys that's like, I want it now. I want what I want now, and I don't care. But understand that in that moment, I don't need it because what I'm striving for is going to be greater for me later on.
Man, I got a question for you because just even what you just shared right then about not only your friend but even your dad. You said he would drive around and he was like, man, back in the day, this and that, whatever the case may be. But I believe like your dad was sharing vision with you. You mentioned vision a few times, during this conversation. And I feel like that's even vision like they used to be. So you had to rewind back in your head and then like move forward, and like that journey that you had to think about is like, dang, they went from that to this. So what role has vision played like in your mindset, like even maybe some challenging times that you would face? Like where did vision come in for you to be able to see past the challenges, past the current situation that you're in, especially being someone that says that you want to have things now? I'm sure everything hasn't come now, so come right at that particular moment. So how's vision helped you along the way?
Man, I wouldn't. I didn't realize I had vision with some stuff I've done in my past life, well, like being an NFL player and all that. But the guy who's our mentor now, Jeff Davis, who I'm like worked under, he talks about vision, and I didn't really understand what he was saying until like last year. And I'm like, damn, I always had a vision. Like what they say, without vision, the people will perish. Like I couldn't articulate what it was, but I knew what I wanted to do. So I look at it as that me knowing I want to play football in a high level. So I know I can't do this and that, or I want to be a millionaire one day. Even from the standpoint of in the NFL, everybody don't realize that not everybody on the team is a millionaire, but you can still be a quote unquote millionaire or whatever that may looks like. So I'm having a vision for that. So me understanding what that was fully last year is when we was talking to our enrollees, our early enrollees in January, and we had to talk about something that helped us propel to where we are now. And I thought about vision because that was part of his thing, always vision, because you deal with so much stuff, you deal with so much adversity, you deal with so many like it's never going to be a straight line to where you want to be. There's always going to be some challenges. So when you get weary or tired, or when you get frustrated with people or situations or circumstances, the vision will always keep you on that track. Even Miles Monroe talk about that. The vision will always keep you, keep those blinders on. So to that standpoint, I always knew that if I wanted to play in the NFL in college football, I can't do X, Y, and Z because that's going to hinder me from doing that. Or if I want to be a great person or great in my roles and stuff like that, I know what's going to be required. So I know that my job is not a desk job, but some of the work may require me to be at my desk, or I might be going through some stuff at home, or I might be mad about something. But I gotta realize that my vision is much more higher than my emotions and all that. So just fully grasping that last year is helping me now. But I've always looked at it like this, bro. If I want to do something, if I want to get somewhere, I can't do X, Y, and Z. So that kind of what kept me vision focused. And then too, just visualizing and meditating what I wanted to be. So that always helped me a lot. So just, you know, what they call the law of attraction. You got to see it, you got to feel it. So that always kept me afloat. But as far as the vision piece, man, I just really grasped that concept last year, like fully grasped what vision was. But that's why I said, man, I know I've been ordained by God. I know sometimes the journey gets weary or confusing, or whatever you may want to say, dog. But I always know that what my end goal is and what my next goal is. So now that I understand that, it's not easy because yeah, I see a vision, but at the same time, you still have emotions, you still have vices, you still have distractions, you still have people hating, or you fall into your old habits of all this stuff that gets in the way of it being a straight line. But the sucky part is I think all of that is ordained for you to on that journey, which is, I mean, yeah, it's true, but it still sucks. I can't even lie about that. But yes, the vision will keep you on track from my from my understanding. But it's never easy because I still feel like days where I'm like, you don't feel like getting it done or whatnot. So that when you have discipline. And I hear Coach Swinney always say it. I'm starting to hear it more now. You either have the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
Man, that's good. So I got a question for you. I would love to hear about like, cause you said, man, you talk about vision that you always like knew, but like, was there ever a time? I don't care what it was in high school. Was there something that happened that made you doubt? Where you got recruited very highly, but then you're playing at Clemson, one of the greatest. Y'all turned it into one of the greatest programs, and you could talk a little bit about that as well. Turned into one of the greatest programs, definitely of our generation now. Was there ever a moment to where like I don't know if it was an injury, a rehab, or I don't know. Did you ever have a moment to where there was some doubt? And can you bring us into that moment?
To be honest, man, I we still have doubts to this day about some stuff, but that's just gotta have faith to keep moving. But yeah, man, to your point, like when I arrived to Clemson, I wanted to be a freshman starter because I saw like guys like Andre Smith do it, and a lot of guys like that I followed growing up. And I didn't have like I said I wasn't coming from a high school that had like the best resources to be a great athlete, all raw talent. But to the point of that, man, yeah, I was doubting am I good enough to play because I wasn't a starter. But I didn't realize that I had to learn a lot of stuff about who was the mic, learning the formation, stuff like that, that helped me to maneuver at a fast pace. So I played a lot as a freshman, but I wasn't a starter. So I kind of doubted myself then. Even playing in the league sometimes, it's like I'm active, I'm not active, I'm pre-squad, I'm P-squad, I'm not. So stuff like that made me doubt my skills a little bit. So it's always gonna be, error for doubt, but I will always, for me, I'll always just focus on the day and not worry about complaining or like having doubts for myself or anything like that. But I feel like, man, guys always provided for me, bro. So even when I did have doubts, I still put the work in. I still asked questions. I still did my research, and I still like try my best to be the best version of myself every day, and it always worked out. But to the point of, again, me learning from my therapist that I'm a people pleaser, stuff like that, from just my upbringing, I run into those things. 'Cause sometimes, but what helped me with that is sometimes it's not you, it's the situation playing out to be the best situation for you. And also too, you may not never know what the person on the other end is going through as well. So I realized that I not did well with patience because I feel like I have to get everything now. But you had that mentality growing up. It's like you don't have everything, but when you get to where you want to go, you want everything right now, or just learning how to maneuver while being patient. And again, that still sucks too.
Man, I think it's man, because but that's real though. Like I think patience is one of the most challenging things for us to really embrace because the things you want, you don't want them just because it's like surface level or just because it's like vanity. Like a lot of things that we really want is deep rooted somewhere, like a real passion and desire for those things. And so when you have like, man, this is one of the things I want the most, and then it's like, nah, not right now. You like, like that. It's kind of hard to really, kind of like maneuver past that and keep pushing on. But like that vision that you mentioned earlier is something that you have to have. And you mentioned just not even long ago about, not everybody is a millionaire, in the NFL. And you talked about, the practice squad and you own this week and then maybe you're not off this week. And so tell me a little bit about like that journey because when somebody said, here's, Antoine McClain, man, Clemson, All American, NFL, Super Bowl. But then you talked about being up, down. They don't recognize that that's a journey. I remember my cousin, man, like he was in the NFL, but like with the Cardinals, and man, like every year it seems like they drafted somebody to take his spot, and he felt that, and he was like, "Yo, like he's starting, doing well, and then boom, like we brought this guy in to replace you." Like, tell us a little bit about like what that roller coaster of the NFL is like when you have to like navigate that stuff, but yeah, everybody else like, man, you it, and you like, man, I don't feel like it's it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nah, man, I think one of the pillars of what I do with Paul Journey with our current college athletes is I can give them the game because I didn't have like the game when I was playing. Yeah, and I'm gonna get to the point what you're asking is like we have resources now, like myself, and understanding how that everything works. So I'm giving our guys the heads up, like, hey, you need to start focusing on this now. So when you get into the league, you won't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. Or hey, this is what's gonna happen on your off days, so you know how to prepare for it. So like for me, knowing like what I know now, and I can impart that on these guys. Like for instance, like going to train in the off season, I felt like I stayed back and train with the actual facility, but I didn't realize I didn't totally understand diet. I didn't understand like how to maneuver through that way. So I think they might have hindered my body a little bit, but I never got injured. So stuff like that, or like on Tuesdays at I remember in Arizona on Tuesdays, like if you're off day, you're not rehabbing and getting some work done. They bringing in guys, they working them out right in front of you while you eating lunch. So like they bring your replacement in, or how cutthroat the league is. The league know they're gonna cut you, but they'll still make you practice that day, and then as you walking off the field, they'll cut you, or like so. Just stuff like that, man. I saw, and you get shaken by it, or like I've always made a team every year, but then end up being a bubble guy, or getting cut during camp, and then going to another team. So But yeah, the league is very it's a business, man. I think if guys walk into that mindset that it's a business, that it ain't about it ain't about sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's about money, sometimes well that is politics, but sometimes it's not you, man. So we try to tell our guys now to maximize everything from your freshman year to your last year at Clemson. If you go into the league, you're gonna maximize everything from your rookie year to your last, because it never ends the way you want it to. Only a handful of guys get to ride off to the sunset. And I played with one of them, Ray Lewis. He played 17 years, and he was one of the few that got to say, "Hey, this is my last season." But while he was on the field, he was the best on the field every year. So when you at that magnitude, which is hard, it's very hard. It's a lot of sacrifices. It's very hard to get to that level. But the ones who do, man, they get to play as long as like Larry Fitzgerald told me too, though. He was like, look, I'll play, it was year 17, 18 for him. He was like, I done played football for a long time. And he said that's gonna be a very short amount of my lifespan because I'm gonna be a regular guy longer than I am Larry Fitzgerald on the field. So having that knowledge is, hey guys, get your stuff in order now. So when you finish playing, you can walk right into something, or you can figure out what you want. You want to be worrying about money and X, Y, and Z. So I would say, my journey from the NFL is helping me impart wisdom on our guys right now. So it's always a good thing for that. So to your point, man, the league is very cutthroat. But also too, it's a job, man. It's a job, and these people don't are not trying to get fired. They want to win. So if you can't get it done, they're gonna find somebody else yesterday.
So man, I love the fact that you're able to take like what you've learned along the way, and you're able to within the role that you do in the player development. And so I would love for us to be able to talk about what you do in the field of player development, because we've had conversations about that. By the way, love the work that you're doing, man. I'm proud of you. I'm happy that because one the transition is probably the toughest part, because you mentioned like you'll be practicing one day, and then boom, that you think everything good, and then that afternoon they're like, hey, let me tap you, hey man, let me holler at you in the office real quick, and then next thing you're trying to figure out what's next, and so most people don't get to choose their transition. So with that being said, like you've made the transition, and man, doing really well. Super proud of you for being in player development and now taking all that knowledge and imparting it upon other people. So tell me a little bit about your role like as player development, and how you've been able to like impact and see this thing come full circle.
Well, cool, man. So when I retired or finished playing ball in 17, I, had to figure out my life. And one of my DPEs, director of player engagement from the Ravens, Harry Swain, we always keep in contact. He was asking what I wanted to do because I didn't, what I was doing, I didn't want to do. I was in Arizona at a college doing enrollment. And ended up connecting me with the Legends Development Program at the NFL League office, and I ended up being starting that in player engagement, which I wanted to be in, and that turned from a 6 month internship to a year and a half because of COVID. And but yeah, man, I got a chance to kind of assist with our DPEs and make sure they have what they need. Speaking with rookies, doing college outreach to talking to guys about the draft process and just how to best prepare athletes to be ready for the NFL, leaving college. That was a great opportunity that led me to working at University of Tennessee in student athlete development, and then end up really getting a shot as a director at a student athlete development at UNC Charlotte, and then kind of got stole away from that by Coach Swinney. So I work now in Paul Journey. Paul Journey is our player relations department at Clemson. We serve as our guys holistically through personal development, life skills, career professionalism, and then too the full circle with what I do with overtime with our alumni. So basically, my role is I wear a lot of hats. I will kind of wear former players, current scholar athletes, and fundraising. So the fundraising duty is I'm the fundraising arm of Clemson football, or Paul Journey. It's a stigma that I always say that guys leave Clemson and don't come back and give back. So This role is created to help that. And not only guys giving back with their money, they're giving back with their time, talent, and their resources, which we all need. And from us, for the current scholar athlete standpoint, we assist each other in each other's initiatives. So, like we have panels and stuff like that. I, coordinate with a football alumni or alumnus in general, and have those guys come and speak, providing resources to our former scholar athletes, connecting them with our current scholar athletes, and then too, just being a mentor to the guys. And a lot of my programming for our current scholar athletes is geared towards that transition piece. So it's kind of like a makeshift of three hats: fundraising. Like last year, I raised like $1.9 million for our fall journey for our endowment. Um, Assisting guys with accommodations on game day. Creating opportunities to understand fundraising and understanding what giving back looks like, and then too, that's kind of spilling over to our current guys giving back and understanding what it like to be a donor and giving back to the university so they can get their return on investment. So we can have more than just we can have more guys every year taking advantage of our opportunities that we provide through player relations through Paul Journey.
So I got a question for you, like in today's landscape, because obviously, when you were playing at Clemson, it's different than now. We're in the NIL era. So like, how important is player development, taking into account like the current landscape of like college athletics?
I think it's becoming like my boy Ed Jones, man. It's becoming like a hot commodity, but I think people see the cool stuff we do, like being around the players and assisting guys, like and talking to guys, but they don't see the surface stuff. The surface on the bottom of it, it's like they don't see like the one on one conversations about their traumas and what they got going on, or the work we have to put in every week to put on these great initiatives, and making sure that guys are receiving a reciprocal of the information. Also, too, man, they don't see like the yearly planning we have to do to we talk about holistic development. So it's a lot of just a lot of just like being on the sidelines and being around the players, a lot of like development going on. So I think you know you will have a like we have 100% career placement for the last 6 years. Kudos to our career development department. Yeah, so I think if you have a coach or AD who understands the importance of it, not just a checkbox ordeal, real development and real resources happening, and like someone who actually gets it, that's at the top. I think it could be a great landscape. But I know some teams and some people have their different ideas of what player development is. Some may think it looks like a babysitting ordeal, or you just handling all the guys' problems. But real player development is what is called development. You're developing them as to be, as we say, first class men and world class leaders. So however you may look at that, and then too, that'll like help guys when they leave. They have a plan versus, well, you came here, you got a degree, you play football. If you don't figure out if you don't go to that stuff, that's on you. So I think it's more intentional development in that aspect. So I know it's becoming a hot commodity, a hot name. I know we have a lot to offer the world because of everybody always calling in to see what we're doing to get our our expertise. But I can tell everybody to this day, like we can give you all the program we do. It's online, all that stuff we do. But if you don't have, for one, the people who's passionate about the development, and two, a head coach or AD who understands the importance of it, it's going to be checkbox. So to answer your question, man, with that landscape, even with NIL, man, we like Jeff always say, hey, we've been doing NIL because one of our slogans or our brands is the man makes the brand. You ain't getting no NIL if you ain't on the field balling or if you ain't take care of your business. So like if you come to a person or a CEO or a company as a whole, man or woman, and you ball on the field, the opportunity is limited because you know how to network, you know how to negotiate, you know how your net, you know your worth, and also too, you getting it done on the field and in the classroom. So it's unlimited potential. But I don't think people understand. So a lot of people that works in NIL, I don't think they play sports sometimes, or it's just they look at it as a money grab, or they look at it as a I don't know, bro. But I just feel like if you want to truly maximize your brand, You don't have to be a starter. You can have a great personality. You can have ways of how you maneuver your brand because a woman makes the brand. So I think if a lot of schools understood that and have the right people in place, that would be it'll be a great model. But I know we're still figuring that out now. But you got NIL, you got collectives, you got all that stuff, man. But I think it boils down to the person.
Nah, that's what's up. I was looking for. I had to take a little slide back real quick because I was looking for my guy, Coach Yerg, Richard Yergin. He has a book called the man that's greater than the brand. So shout out to my guy, your guy as well, Richard Yergin. And so that I felt like he was kind of like a plug because you said the man is greater than the brand. And so I was trying to grab the book real quick, but it's all good.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome book, man. Even to hearing his story, we did an interview like last year, but no, man. Yeah, Richard, man, he's a part of that. He was, the front end of the Paul journey when it. But Paul journey always been here because Jeff always been here for the last 15, 16 years, Coach Swinney and whatnot. But just his magnitude of what he done for a lot of young men like myself and a lot of guys before me. And now the whole 10, 12, 13 years I've been gone is just what he's been doing with our staff and just not programming our guys, but just giving our guys, the water and giving our guys tools, but showing them how to use those tools. That's the biggest thing.
And I want you to talk about it real quick because and this will be the last question before we end it. When you think about Coach Dabo Swinney, Dabo, I don't know the right way to say it. Hopefully I ain't, hopefully I'm saying it right. So, but when you think about him, recruiting you, and then also you mentioned him after you did the transition with the NFL and start getting into player development, and now you having the opportunity that you have now. Talk to me about the role that he has played in your life, and who is he? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got you. I can answer that question, man. Like we have a lot of former players who working on staff, and I know some people may think that's nepo, but Sweeney tells them where they can go. But the reason why, man, is because Jeff saw this too. Even Coach Sweeney, Coach Sweeney said, when I came out to Alabama, I see a lot of my friends who are these great men on the field, but 10 years later, they struggling, they divorced, the whole stigma. So he always wanted to create something that is for the 30-year-old player. So he always wanted to say, when I see guys at 16, when I'm recruiting them, and they come to the school at 18, and they there till they're 21, 22, and they go and leave, and they let the game use them. They didn't use the game for their benefit. He said, I didn't never want a 30-year-old, one of my 30-year-old players to run the other way. I want them to come and hug and embrace me. So this program is designed for guys like myself, Rashard Hall, DeAndre McDaniel, all the guys who worked here and whatnot, gave opportunity to. This program is designed for that. So to answer your question, man, that kind of says it all. Like, that says a lot about a guy who can reach back and making sure that his guys are. Because he always say, like, I know this kid since I know Swin since I was, 16, 15. He been knowing me for a long time. I'm 34 now. So he got guys he recruited before me that he been knowing. So, like, even his old teammates. So he said, man, I want to create a program to where I can serve them now, but also too, it's going to serve them a magnitude after they leave. So to answer your question, man, that the 30-year-old version is kind of what this program is designed for.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Coach Sweeney. I think that the work that y'all put in there has been amazing. I know you are on the forefront of that, and making it to the program that it is today. So, man, shout out to you all the hard work, long hours to make this thing come to pass. So, man, it's been a great conversation, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you a big man, man. You big time, so I know you got a lot of stuff you got going on. So I really do appreciate you, taking time out with us to just share your wisdom, all the things that have transpired throughout your life. So the last question that we ask on every segment is a question about better days ahead. So for our guests, like, do you have any mantras or any like quote or anything that you kind of utilize to like, remind you that like, man, like, this too shall pass and there are better days ahead.
I was in a really tough situation, bro, and I like left the league and I was figuring out my money. I was figuring out all this stuff, bro. Um, and I called him my financial advisor, one of my great friends. I told him he saved my life, but like, bro, he was like, I know what you're going through. I've been there, probably worse. And he said, I'm gonna give you a couple of words that's gonna like solve all of that. You may not get it right now. And I'm tearing up as I'm talking about it. He said, this too shall pass. And like, bro, yeah, at that moment it didn't make sense, but like, dog, like, so fast forward from 18 into 19, my life changed. And then from 19 to 20, my life. So like it's been up since then. But the one thing he told me that I stuck on to, bro, is this too shall pass. And another thing I stick on because I'm huge yogi and I meditate, as you can see. Um all is well and all will be well. I always say that in the mornings or when I'm frustrated or I'm doubting myself or having doubts. I always say all is well and all will be well. When I'm in a bad situation or I feel like I'm not like where I need to be, all is well and all will be well.
That's what's up. So we in, with the wisdom and advice that we got from our guests. So remember, all this too shall pass. And if you're ever in a tight spot, remember all is well, and I will be well. This is another segment of the Mindset on Resilience podcast. Mr. McClain, I appreciate your time. Until next time, everybody.